Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Hokum, opening with $6.4 million this weekend domestically and $6.7 million worldwide. This is Neon's 4th biggest opening ever. It topped Immaculate, but still sits behind Together, The Monkey, and Longlegs, and it's the 9th biggest opening for a horror film this year. It topped They Will Kill You, but still sits behind Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, Undertone, Primate, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, Iron Lung, Send Help, and Scream 7. Didn't discuss this movie last weekend because I didn't have a whole lot to say about this movie. It's a neon horror movie. I thought it would appeal to its core audience, but not really like break out. But even then, I still was pretty impressed with how big this movie was. It wasn't massive or anything, but the fact that it opened to this big of a number is still really impressive. I think the marketing and certainly the trailers certainly helped this out. That one trailer with that demon spawn creature, I'm not going to show it, but if you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. It certainly caught some people's attention. You know, Adam Scott being the lead and the director's other past work certainly helped this movie out, and I think the marketing definitely caught some people's eye. It felt very similar to Undertone, where it was a lot more digital based as opposed to traditional marketing, and it did seem to capture a lot of people's eye. And you know, again, there hasn't been that many horror films out right now bringing people to the theater, so this was able to make that, you know, that dry season for the genre, and thankfully people seem to be enjoying this movie as well. Critics are really digging it. It's at an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, really strong, and it got a B on CinemaScore, which is also strong for a horror movie, especially one as scary and creepy as this. So it's probably going to be a nice little sleeper hit for neon in the horror genre around this time before, you know, a lot of the bigger horror movies come out. So yeah, pretty solid debut for Hokum. Number 4 was Project Hail Mary, making $8.5 million this weekend. Its domestic total now stands at $318 million, and its worldwide total stands at $638 million. Again, man, just unbelievable numbers. I know I've said it time and time and time again with this movie, but this has just been absolutely legendary run. I'm not sure if we will see another movie like this, you know, sci-fi, big blockbuster, dare I say epic, replicate this reception, these legs, this word of mouth, just unbelievable. The fact that it's still going strong and we're headed into the summer movie season is absolutely insane. It's definitely going to crack 330 million domestically, certainly 650 million worldwide. We'll see if it can get to 700 million. That kind of seems like a tall order right now. I'll discuss that in a bit, but you know, this movie has done the impossible so much before. It wouldn't surprise me if it could continue to do the impossible. But as I said earlier, we're heading into the summer movie season, and there's a lot of movies coming out, especially this weekend, and I hate to say it, but it's looking like this will be the last time we see Project Hail Mary in the top 5. It's still going to crush it outside the top 5, but as far as in the top 5 films at the box office, I think its run is coming to a close, and it's sad to see it go. But again, like I said, we just will never see another movie like this perform to this degree. This is one for the history books, one for the ages. Of course, there's going to be movies that perform better than this, and we'll see some other strong box office numbers, but I don't think we'll see something quite like this that really just captured the pop cultural zeitgeist in a way that we've never seen before. Again, for a movie like this, and this is definitely worthy of the success, the celebration, and the praise. Yeah, man, just an unbelievable run for Project Hail Mary. Again, one for the history books. Number 3 was the Super Mario Galaxy movie, making $12 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $402 million and a worldwide total of $897 million. Still the biggest movie of the year. It has surpassed the $400 million milestone domestically, and it's approaching $900 million worldwide. Again, that's all good said and done. The budget was only $110 million. Illumination still bringing people to the theater, but again, just the first one was such a behemoth. To see this movie take a noticeable decline like this is rather shocking, and it's really starting to fade a lot sooner than I expected it to. I was hoping the movie would hold a bit better than it did this weekend. It didn't fall off the face of the earth, but you would hope for like more like the traditional family movie legs here. It fell around 40% like it's been doing for the past couple weeks, which is concerning to say the least. And again, it's approaching $900 million, but now the question remains, will it still have enough juice in the tank to get to $1 billion? Because it seemed at a certain point Minecraft was going to get to $1 billion, and then it didn't, and Lilo and Stitch barely got over that. And I'm seeing very similar things occur with this movie as I did with those movies. So it's going to be interesting to see how much further this movie can go. Again, we're heading to the summer movie season, a lot of competition, especially this weekend. There's a new video game movie and a new kids movie out this weekend, so a lot for this movie to go up against. So it's going to be interesting to see where this movie falls from this point forward. I think this is going to be the last time we see it in the top 5. Still huge numbers, still like the biggest movie of the year. Obviously, I don't think too many people are losing sleep over this, but I definitely think there's going to be a lot of lessons to be learned in regards to the performance of this movie at the box office, to see, again, because what we've seen with many animated movies, sequels prior, is that they could soar to heights we haven't seen of, and to see this one decline from the heights set by the first film is certainly concerning. Number 2 was Michael, making $54 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $184 million and a worldwide total of $430 million. My goodness, I think it's pretty clear that a lot of people like Michael Jackson and they like his movie. Goodness gravy, this film held really well this weekend. 44% second weekend drop off. That is really impressive. Way better than the A- cinema score that was revealed last weekend during its opening. This movie really has just caught on, resonated with tons and tons of people. I've been hearing plenty of Michael Jackson songs out in the real world on a day-to-day basis. Not that I'm complaining, but clearly this movie has sparked a resurgence in his music and just the love for what he was able to do in his prime time, where the movie showcases his life. A lot of people have a lot of love and respect for what he was able to do, and again, people are really enjoying this. And it's not just people I'm seeing like on the internet. I know like family members who do not go to the movies that often have called me or texted me or have even spoken to me saying, hey, I'm gonna go check out the Michael Jackson movie. I've been really excited about it. So clearly the word of mouth and the response from audiences is really strong, is really positive here, and I think it's a good sign for this movie as we head to the summer movie season. This is definitely going to play out fairly well throughout the summer. A lot of people still want to go and check this out, still really enjoying this, and are probably going to rewatch it a ton of times. Yeah, just an excellent second weekend for Michael. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was The Devil Wears Prada 2, opening with $76 million this weekend domestically and $233 million worldwide. Compared to the first one, this film beats that film's opening by $50 million. Of course, it is also the biggest opening of the summer thus far, topping Hokum and Animal Farm, and it's the 4th biggest opening of the year overall. It topped Scream 7, but still sits behind Project Hail Mary, Michael, and the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So while I admittedly thought it would open a bit stronger, I was thinking maybe somewhere on par with Michael's opening. The trailer views were through the roof, and the pre-sale hype was like really strong early on in its pre-sale run. So I was expecting a bit more for this movie, but still, that's not to say this is a bad opening, not in the slightest. Again, this is 50 million over that first film's opening. It's clear that The Devil Wears Prada has made a huge cultural impact and has resonated with a ton of people, and the interest was there. Again, I think the marketing really did this movie swell. I saw tons of promos, the word got out, the hype was there, and a lot of people were really excited to see this cast of characters back after so long. And what's really beneficial is that this movie, for a summer sequel, wasn't too much. It was only $100 million. It's already doubled that worldwide, which is absolutely insane. If you thought the domestic opening was really strong, internationally this thing is a juggernaut. So it's clear that this is going to do much better than the first one. It's going to start the summer strong, and it does seem like people are really liking and enjoying it. It sits at a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, which may not seem like much, but actually critics preferred it over the first one, and audiences also seem to be really enjoying this as well. It got an A- on Cinema Score. Again, that may not seem like much compared to a lot of other blockbusters, but it's actually a huge improvement over the B that the first one got in 2006. I am curious to see where this will fall in the A- blockbuster range we've seen. Is this movie gonna continue to thrive like Michael has, or is this gonna stumble a bit like Super Mario Galaxy? Only time will tell. I think it's gonna lean more closer to Michael, as from what I've seen, the response has been very, very positive. I've seen a lot of people talking about how this is a worthy follow-up to the first one. Also, Mother's Day is this weekend, so I think a lot of kids are gonna take their moms to go see this to celebrate the holiday. So I think the second weekend will definitely benefit from that. And again, it's one of the only films geared towards a female audience, so it'll be able to stand out on its own amongst the sea of other big summer blockbusters. Yeah, I think the future's looking a bit bright for this movie, and the opening has started things off strong for this movie. Yeah, a really solid opening for The Devil Wears Prada 2. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And boy, do we have a crowded Mother's Day weekend. 3 big movies that I think could spark something at the box office. Definitely gonna switch things up for the summer. So bear with me, folks. We're doing a speed round. The Sheep Detectives I can see going either way. The way I can see it underperforming is, I think the premise is just so bizarre. If you describe it to anyone at first glance, they're going to give you some really confused looks. I also think that making it live action is going to make it a bit harder to sell compared to like an original animated movie. I don't think too many people are familiar with the book, so there's also that. Plus, I haven't seen a big marketing push like I saw for some other animated family films, Hoppers or Goats, so that's concerning. But thankfully, the movie actually does look pretty good. I know a lot of people who saw the trailer and said that actually doesn't look too bad, myself included. I think it looks a lot better than the premise makes it look. The fact that it's the first kids movie of the summer also helps it out. Also, Mother's Day, lots of families going to go check it out to celebrate the holiday. And reviews right now are really strong. Critics are really liking it. Last I checked, it was at a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, so really stellar reviews. So hopefully the strength of the movie being as excellent as it appears to be will help it out in terms of family movie legs, and hopefully can push it to a pretty solid opening. Billie Eilish hit them hard and soft. I think that's gonna crush it this weekend because it's Billie Eilish. Her fans are gonna rush out to go and see it. She's been heavily promoting it, getting out there, getting the word out there. Also, James Cameron has also been promoting this as well on their collaboration and obviously the 3D technology. The problem is that at the end of the day, this is still just a concert movie, and they typically do very well on those first weekends, but after that they fizzle out because they mostly appeal to just the fans. Everyone else is just not going to be interested in checking this out, even with the addition of the 3D immersive technology or whatever. I just doubt this movie has the legs after that. Again, it not to say the movie's bad or anything, it's just these movies definitely have a specific audience in mind to bring the crowds to the theater, and unfortunately it's a very limited audience. So again, I think it's gonna have a solid opening weekend, but after that I'm not expecting much. And then Mortal Kombat 2, this is definitely the textbook definition of a summer blockbuster. It's a sequel, it's based off of a beloved IP, it's got a lot of action, special effects. The marketing has actually been really solid. I've been seeing a lot of promos for this, and the hype is actually kind of there because the movie does look like an improvement over the first one. It's actually about characters from the games, and there actually does seem to be a tournament this time around, so a lot of people are excited to check the movie out. Plus, it's not also streaming on HBO Max. And again, Mortal Kombat is such a big franchise, a big video game. I think a lot of people are going to be curious to see how they do with the second film here. Problem though is that last movie really wasn't all that great. It appealed to some of the fans, but mostly a lot of people felt like it was pretty lackluster and didn't like how they brought the game into a movie. I even remember some of the fans being disappointed by, being focused on not an original character from the game and the lack of a tournament. Definitely spurred some criticisms there. And plus, I think they waited a bit too long to get this off the ground. Waiting 5 years is a bit of a stretch. You really got to refresh people's memories on that first movie. I think had this come out around the same time that Godzilla Kong sequel did, the hype would still be a lot stronger. That first movie would be a lot fresher in people's minds, but still I'm expecting a strong debut here, not expecting a total disappointment. But we'll see how well this movie truly does, as well as the rest of the movies that landed the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.